This is a special announcement. We are heading to RSA Conference in San Francisco for our 11th years of coverage, April 28, May 1st.
And as always, we'll bring you keynotes, conversations with organizers, speakers, industry leaders, plus the latest insights from the world of cybersecurity.
And we'll reconnect with old friends, meet new ones, and of course, we want you and your company to join us.
We have a few spots left for full sponsorship and our on-location briefings. You can book yours now at ITSPmagazine.com/RSAC.
We're going.
And you're coming with us. Marco.
Sean.
Vroom.
Vroom, vroom, it's happening. I mean, it's like one of those things that we start much earlier when we do a coverage. And in RSAC conference in particular, we have those memory, those tradition about us, the two of us driving up the road, stopping places, recording and sharing memories and creating memories for our audience. And this is about create excitement. So I'm very excited about this conversation.
Exactly. The RSAC conference has been a staple in what we do, and it's a chance for the community to come together. There's a lot of innovation and a lot of I guess a lot of people want to come together and figure out, well, how do we tackle this problem of cybersecurity together? And that's where our chats on the road come in to help bring some of that together. And I'm thrilled to have Rupesh on with us from Akamai. Rupesh, how are you? It's good to see you again.
Yeah, same here. Good to see you again. And I'm doing great. As you know, looking forward to RSA 2025. I feel like the year's gone by so quick, right? In the world of cybersecurity, it's all about speed.
Even too fast.
Exactly. So you're going to be there. Your team will be there, and you have a lot going on that week. You have a lot going on coming up to that time as well, and we're going to talk a bit about that today. Just a quick word from you, Rupesh, your role at Akamai, so folks know who we're chatting with today.
Sure. So my role at Akamai, I run the application security business, senior vice president, general manager. You know, my team and I focus on the product, the engineering, the technology, the data science, the threat research, the operations to bring best-in-class products and solutions for our customers globally.
And can you give us a quick overview? I mean, there's a lot in what you just described there, from intelligence to operations and all that stuff. So can you give us a sense of some of the things you're hearing that have driven you to what you've been working on this past year?
Absolutely. So I feel like, we go look at the data on the web attacks and the API attacks, and then every year, like the number is greater, right? So just the type and volume of attacks that we're seeing continues to expand again and again, year over year. But then there's a lot of interesting things happening where sort of, the world of information technology is really kind of embracing and entering the era of AI as we talk about it, right? In terms of how can I utilize Gen AI and other things to improve the business process, the productivity, the differentiation, etc., which is fantastic. But all of that comes with sort of, what is the AI security strategy and how should one go about it? And it's like two parts, right? How can I utilize AI to better security, which is what we do at Akamai day in, day out. We've been doing it for 10 plus years, but now we're entering the phase of securing AI applications, right? So how do you make sure that everything that's going to happen, whether it's a conversational chatbot or agentic AI or other use cases, how do you really kind of secure? So just like growing the number of attacks, big numbers, to kind of this pivotal year on, understanding and securing AI.
I want your opinion on this because I feel like from a sociological perspective, when something happens, people get excited, especially if it's something big like news like AI, and it's gonna do this, it's gonna do that, it's gonna be hyped. Then we get to the point like, hold on a second, let's think this over, and let's see how it can really improve our life. It's not gonna be the easy button, and we need to tune it up. So I feel like we are in that phase. I think this year is that year that you can really start seeing rolling out application with AI that are not with a question mark. Maybe they can do less than what we expected or we dream, but they do it good. So can you tell me your view on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think again, there's always going to be like two sides of the spectrum, right? In terms of you know people who just want it to be kind of like business as usual, and then there's people who are like, hey, AI is going to change everything that we do. I do buy into the fact that there is a huge productivity gain across all industries, all verticals, all use cases, right? Because you have basically smart automation, right? You can do things that are 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 steps in a process, and you automate that, and you being able to really be kind of faster, but also have it like in a contextual kind of a framework, right? So my intentions are do XYZ, and that is what AI is going to go do. Versus historically, it is more like the classic IVRs or interactive voice response was already a tree that press one to do this, press two to do this. Versus this is a lot more with natural language and kind of solving a little bit more complex problems through the Gen AI apps and interaction. So I'm a believer in that. I think for us at Akamai, from a security perspective, what we want to do is really bring the capabilities and the solutions to actually help fuel that AI and Gen AI innovation, right? And we want to provide sort of the trust and the security to make sure that all of these use cases can continue to deliver on their promise and expand. So there will always be, skeptics in terms of, how much, how fast, how big. I think, we are entering the era for sure, for the AI era. And I think we're going to live in the hybrid world, right? So the hybrid world is going to be there. You have the classic applications, and then you'll have Gen AI applications and all of that sort of, coming together. And we've seen that again and again before, right? There was an era of, kind of brick and mortar to e-commerce, and we felt like all the stores are going to go away. And they did have an impact, but right now every business has figured out how to be hybrid. So I think that's the same point over here. We're going to see enterprises, large and small, public sector, businesses globally will figure out how to live in a hybrid world when it comes to their applications.
And I love that analogy, Rupesh, and I want to stick with that for a moment because when coming from the world of quality assurance, looking at AI enabled applications, the use cases almost become endless. Where pre AI, you had a well defined set of use cases, and the environment looked a certain way, and you could kind of figure out how you control it. But now with AI, it's almost the endless wild west. And so to go back to your analogy, to me, it almost seems like we need to shift how we think, not unlike how brick and mortar moves to cloud and working in a hybrid mode. How do we rethink what our environment looks like with AI in it? What can we use from the things we know work well? How do we have to rethink differently about the stuff that we haven't figured out yet? And how do you at Akamai help kind of make that transition of the mindset for folks?
Right, absolutely. And I think we have to kind of embrace it. And I have a personal example. uh, my younger daughter, 12th grade, getting ready to go to college, and she's going to go study computer science, and her whole thing is about if AI can already do a number of things in this sort of space, and the speed at which it can do, and the precision with what it can do, right? I need to use it. It needs to be an enabler, right? I don't need to fight it. I don't need to worry about that as a developer. Should I use AI to enhance my productivity, or kind of like, second guess everything it is doing, because these models are fantastic. They're trainable. There's so much good that we can do. But there is always going to be this sort of like, human in the loop kind of a concept, right? Which says that human beings have a much more kind of broader perspective of the environment and what needs to be done and how do you drive innovation. So I think about utilizing Gen AI applications to kind of improve the experience or the user experience or the productivity or all of the other benefits. But then you kind of step back and say, okay, what do I need to do to make all of that be better and better? And that's the role that the engineers and the scientists are going to continue to play. And at Akamai, I give you a number of examples, right? So we have a team that is focused on AI security solutions that's looking at, what can we do to protect our customers from prompt injections or PII leakage, or safeguarding and guardrailing information interactions that take place, etc. What are good ways and smart ways of doing those things? As one example, I have another team that is a very, threat research and data science focus that's saying, hey, how do I fight AI with AI, right? The attackers are utilizing the power of AI when it comes to the speed, and then changing the different attack vectors and how they come about it. And how do we fight that, whether it is mitigating bots, whether it is something else, etc. Right? And then, one interesting data point I will share. The intelligence team is now tracking almost 500 million plus LLM driven scraping requests per day, right? So you're starting to see all of this sort of public LLMs starting to look across the internet and so many other use cases for information. And this has started with the commerce industry, whether dynamic pricing or inventory scraping, but accelerating into healthcare and gambling and video streaming and so many other examples, right? So we're starting to see just kind of like the scale at which things are being done is continuing to increase. And at Akamai, we're here to focus on the security as an enabler and how we can continue to help customers with that.
Yeah, I love what you guys do, and it's so pervasive, and people just use it every day. They're kind of like, I'm going to opt out from AI. No, you can't. It's you can't do that. I'm sorry to break it to you. Let's go to RSAC 2025. Your presence there, your team. Um, Anything interesting that people that you're going to unveil when you're there? I know we will have actually a sit down conversation with you on location, which is
Right.
exciting. And also, what kind of conversation you think your team will have? The kind of questions that the people that participate to the conference will come to the booth and kind of like say, like, how do I do this? What's going to be the big question? Like, I want you to kind of make a guess, because I know.
Yeah. No, it is again an exciting time for us, for the industry. Sean was mentioning before, great opportunity to kind of collaborate, etc. So we look forward to that, right? And we welcome the interactions with all the customers, all the attendees, all the partners, and a lot of that interaction. So, if folks are going to be at RSA, please stop by Akamai's booth, which is 6245 or 6245. And we have a number of things planned over there, right? And I'll start to kind of talk a little bit about, what we are doing at the booth. We'll have the executive team, we'll have the product leadership teams, we'll have the solution specialists. So we have a number of interactive demos that we're starting to set up. We're going to talk about AI security. We'll talk about a recent launch that we did with AAP Hybrid, which is our app and API protection hybrid capability. We have new things that are coming out on our Guardicore platform, so we'll talk about that. But then we're kind of stepping back and looking at what matters to the customers when it comes to different sort of use cases, right? So cyber resilience, and how do you go about it, and what is the role that API security is going to play in that? Or if you think about security as a business enabler, what is the role that some of these solutions are going to play in enabling that? So both a combination of sort of product capabilities that will be able to showcase the innovation and the use cases, but also put it in the context of these broad themes that the customers are tackling sort of day in day out. So super excited about that. We'll have some theater presentations that will happen in the booth. So 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute conversation on a particular topic, and then we'll have the experts available to have deeper conversations and some more kind of hands-on demonstrations, etc. Right? So from demos to theater presentation to one-on-ones to kind of the full breadth of what we do as Akamai security teams will be able to showcase that. The other exciting thing at RSA is I will be presenting on sort of the new attack frontier and research that we have done, and we'll showcase how our SODI report that will come out, the State of Internet report, that talks about apps and APIs and the targets. And show kind of double click on the data in terms of what geographical places are we seeing the attacks, the type of attacks, the volume. Like the numbers are astounding, like 300 billion plus attacks or 150 billion API attacks, like 90% plus increase in layer 7 DDoS attacks. So we were able to kind of bring all of this threat intelligence, analyze, put it in bite size, and showcase it and present it to our customers. So super excited about that session. So please, stop by, at the booth. And you mentioned, Marco, about we'll do another a session with both of you at the RSA event. And I have some very interesting news at that time that I would like to share, but we'll save it.
Yeah. Let's save it for that time.
Save it for that. What I do want to mention though, and this is why I particularly love RSA Conference. I alluded to it earlier. It's a chance for people to come together. What I think people will find valuable when they meet with you at your booth is obviously you've done a lot of research. You have a good view of what's needed for the market, and you're building solutions for that and helping organizations with that. That broad picture, bringing it down directly to a particular person's organization, their particular environment, their particular needs, having those conversations with you, I think are super valuable. Where if they're in pharma or in retail or in banking and they have a particular tech stack and they're using APIs in a certain way, agentic AI, whatever it is, they can have that conversation with you to really understand what their challenges are, what your solutions are, and how you can work together to really drive their business forward, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And made a great point on sort of like the kind of like the insights and the knowledge around the verticals, right? So we kind of, the largest of the large global banks trust Akamai. So we're able to have that sort of, deeper level of threat intelligence when it comes to that. And we can help, all customers with that. But we're also, again, security is all about sort of two things, I would say. One is it's all about the speed and how you can kind of have the best armor, but also be able to kind of react to some of those real time attacks that are happening. And then, second, it is all about a defense in depth or a really kind of layered strategy. And we can share some of those things, through the one-on-one conversations and how healthcare companies do it, or how pharma companies do it, manufacturing or airlines or commerce or banks, etc. Some of it is common, some of it is unique to the vertical. So exciting. And I think, a lot of these customers are very sharp in terms of, they're expanding their deployment models, on cloud, on the prem, hybrid, different use cases, different types of apps, classic apps or Gen AI apps. So it's just a very broad, kind of industry where everybody's going in different directions to make sure that they get the best and the most for their product or their end users or their own customers. And our job is to provide that, security as an enabler. So
Yeah, it's definitely a synergy between the two, right? And you mentioned change. Years ago, you could build a business and say, "This is going to be my business for the next 20, 50 years. Yeah, good luck with that. Now you need to be, this is my business now, and the only thing I know is that there's going to be change. So when you can talk to vendors and work with vendors in the cybersecurity industry that help you to actually make those decisions, I think that's key, because nobody has the answer on his own, but
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
again, to touch on Sean and the community coming together
right.
at a higher level, I think that's what you expect. So, well, I'm very excited for the conversation we will have on location to see you and the team, and obviously we invite everybody to join and get in touch with you guys. Sean, we're gonna stop by, right?
We'll stop by the booth for sure and hang out and say hi to everybody and hear more about what you're up to. And yeah, I think for me, it's all about sharing best practices and working with each other to make things better. And I think one last point, Rajesh, because you mentioned resilience, and I think having an opportunity to not just tackle the problem we face today, but be in a position to maintain resiliency long term is key. And I feel that you and the team have that in mind as well. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think a lot of this stuff is, and it's again, in the world of security, cybersecurity, you're never one and done, right? It's just such a active adversary out there that we need to be, constantly looking at cyber resiliency. Uh, and please stop by. Look forward to having a deeper conversation in RSA, and I'm requesting and asking everybody to stop by the Akamai.
the
So
booth number again, Rupesh?
yeah, it is 6245, 6245. Look forward to seeing everyone.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening, we look forward to see you there in San Francisco. If you can't, like many other people, maybe you'll leave those experiences through us and through all the recording that will be done by the RSA conference itself. And stay tuned. There'll be many more stories here on location with Sean Martin and Marco Ciappelli. That will be me. So subscribe, stay tuned, and see you soon around.
Rupesh, thank you. See you there.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Sean. Take care. Bye-bye.
Sean,
Marco.
we are here to deliver a message from the RSA conference team.
It's an important message from our friends. RSA Conference 2025, just around the corner, where insights drive action, solutions emerge, and community connections spark innovation. You'll be there. I'll be there. We invite everybody else to be there April 28th through May 1st. You can secure your spot at rsaconference.com/ITSPmag25. That's ITSPmag25. See you all there.
I'll be there. See you there.